Most people use AI coding assistants by piling on more and more instructions. Project rules, workflows, edge cases, and conventions all get packed into one place, and the assistant is expected to sort it out every time. It feels like more knowledge is being added, but what's actually happening is the creation of a much bigger problem. Every prompt forces the agent to load all of that context, whether it's relevant or not. The result is a polluted context window, slower reasoning, and less reliable output. It's like forcing a master chef to read a 1,000-page cookbook just to poach a single egg. Almost all of it is noise, cluttering the AI's limited attention. There's a much cleaner and more effective solution, and that's where agent skills come in. They provide on-demand knowledge that cuts through the clutter and makes the agent far more effective. So, what exactly is an agent skill? The simplest way to think about it is as a self-contained knowledge packet. It's a tightly focused set of instructions for a specific task, such as the exact commands for resizing images or the design rules for a company's branding. The concept was first introduced by Anthropic for Claude in October 2025. In December 2025, it was released as an open standard, along with a public specification and SDK, making it possible for any AI platform to adopt it. Since then, companies including Microsoft, OpenAI, GitHub, Atlassian, Figma, and Cursor have begun supporting the standard. Agent skills are now also available in VS Code starting version 1.108 that was released on January 8, 2026. To get started with skills, go to Settings, search for Skills, and enable Agent Skills. You can then create your own agent skills or use skills created by the community. To create a skill, start by creating a .github system directory. Inside that directory, create a skills folder in your project. Every skill should live in its own directory. Let's now create a new folder named Dependency Audit. This skill will audit a project's NPM and Python dependencies for known vulnerabilities. Inside this directory, create a markdown file named skill.md. This file defines the structure and behavior of the skill. The skill markdown file has a few key parts. It starts with YAML front matter that includes the skill's name and description. YAML is just a structured way to define metadata in a text file, and it's always wrapped between 3 dashes at the top. The description is the most important part. It tells the agent when the skill is relevant and why it should be loaded. Next are the instructions. These define the workflow the agent should follow. They can be mandatory or advisory, depending on how strict you want the behavior to be. Here are my instructions for performing an audit on any project's dependencies. It begins by defining the project's purpose, then explains what the skill does, followed by step-by-step instructions. I've also included an example output format, common edge cases, and a set of important instructions to help the AI avoid hallucinations. You can also include optional references, such as scripts, resources, templates, or images, to help the agent complete the task correctly. For example, I've included a reference to a markdown file that I'll add next in the references folder. Next, create a references folder and add a markdown file named OWASP-mapping. Here's the content of that file. This file is referenced from the skill file to help the agent complete the task correctly, following the OWASP 2025 recommendations while performing the vulnerability assessment. That's it. Our skill file is ready. Let's give it a try. Here's a log analysis application I designed to process some logs. I asked Copilot to analyze the current workspace and identify any vulnerable dependencies used by the project. Copilot quickly recognized that a skill file was available for this task. It followed the instructions from the skill file to assess potential vulnerabilities and successfully identified an existing issue. I then asked Copilot to write the analysis into a markdown file. As you can see, the report is thorough. It highlights one high-risk file and, as a final recommendation, advises not to deploy the project until the vulnerability is resolved. Now, just think about it for a second. With just a single file, you can teach your AI agent a completely new skill. You can give it specialized knowledge, a new way of thinking about a problem, a capability it just didn't have before. Now, let's see how skills stay lightweight. Agent skills use a concept called progressive disclosure to manage context efficiently. When the agent starts, it loads only the name and description of each available skill. This is just enough for the agent to understand what skills exist and when they might be relevant. Here's a simple way to think about it. Imagine you have 10 skills available. For a given task, the agent determines that only 2 of them are relevant. Only those 2 skills are loaded into the context window. This is very different from traditional custom instructions. Custom instructions are always loaded and permanently consume context, whether they're relevant or not. Agent skills, on the other hand, are modular. The agent selects what it needs when it needs it and stays lightweight the rest of the time. Agent skills are growing fast because they're open source and shareable. You can explore skills that other people have created and try them out. For example, the ones in the Anthropic skills repository. To use a shared skill, start by browsing the available skills in the repository. Then, copy the skills directory into your skills folder. Take a look at the skill file and customize it to fit your needs. You can also optionally modify or add resources like scripts, templates, or reference files to make the skill work even better for your project. Agent skills are still new, but they're already proving to be one of the most practical advances in agentic development. Try them out and let me know in the comments what you taught your agent to do. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more real-world AI tips for software testers. Happy testing!